And college football quarterback has left his team just 3 games into an undefeated season over unfulfilled NIL promises, he says.
Now, sources are telling CBS Sports that UNLV's Matthew Sluka says he was promised NIL money from the university, which he has not received.
Tonight, WKYT Samantha Valentino is sitting down with an NIL expert to discuss the situation in Las Vegas and whether or not we could see something similar here in the Commonwealth. It's a story new at 5.
ESPN reports Matthew Sluka was verbally promised a minimum of $100,000 from UNLV, but this promise was never put in writing. In a statement, UNLV argued financial demands made by Sluka's rep violated NCAA pay-for-play rules as well as state law. They say they've honored all previously agreed upon scholarships for Sluka. According to CBS Sports, after failed negotiations between Sluka's camp and UNLV, Sluka announced he'd be sitting out the rest of the season.
We haven't seen this to this degree.
Rob Jackson is the CEO of Next Play NIL, a marketing company that works with collegiate and high school athletes. He says the rules and regulations for NIL are still a moving target.
So in that kind of environment, there'll be situations where there's misunderstandings, there's disputes, promises have been made that weren't able to be backed up in a business way due to rules and regulations.
So could what's happening in Las Vegas happen here in Kentucky?
Based on what I've seen here in Kentucky, and what's happening at other universities, this is a very, very rare instance in terms of a player actually deciding to sit out from further participation mid-season. I don't anticipate seeing that wide scale across the industry.
While unlikely, Jackson says it could be possible anywhere. He says this incident shines a light on the need for more uniform regulations across the NIL industry.
We just have to land at some kind of structure that governs this properly and protects every individual that's a part of this on either side, whether it be a student athlete, a university, a coaching staff.
Samantha Valentino, WKYT.
In a statement, the NCAA said in part there is little oversight or accountability in the NIL space, and far too often promises made to student athletes are broken. Adding, without clear legal authority from the courts or Congress, the NCAA, schools, and conferences have limited authority to regulate third parties involved in NIL transactions.